Hello everybody there, and welcome to Not Fried Chicken Day. So this is the story. I spent a lot of years going on these food trips with my sister Esther. We started off, I think our first one was Charleston. We did South and North Carolina, and it was unbelievable. And the whole trip is pretty much based around food and restaurants and things to eat. The best this or the best fried chicken or the best biscuits. And so we would go around and I would do my research. I would buy the books and read it and make a plan of the trip. And it was amazing. And then we went to, I'm trying to think of the order and I may get it wrong. We went to Tennessee and we did Memphis and Nashville. And if you want to read all about it, I have written posts about it on our website, but they're hidden because they weren't a Monday morning cooking club thing, they were a Lisa Goldberg thing, so they're sort of hidden, so you don't see them if you go to our website. But if you go to our website and you put in the search bar Lisa's Travels or Nashville or Memphis or Charleston, you'll get all the posts. Been to Hong Kong, can't remember what else is there, been to New York, all sorts of things, and it's all about the food. And I've written the story, and if I may say so myself, they're quite entertaining reading because it's pretty much the hilarious things we saw, the hilarious things we did, and the food we ate. I mean, what more could you want? So Nashville, the trip, which I called Fried Chicken the Holiday, we went there to try to find this best Nashville fried chicken. But the thing about Nashville, it's also all about Keith Urban and country music. So actually was a country music museum right at the hotel where we stayed. I think we stayed at the Omni in Nashville, or am I getting mixed up with Memphis? I don't know. I may be getting mixed up. No, Memphis, we stayed at the hotel with the ducks. If anyone's been there, you'll know what I mean. Don't go there for the ducks. That's all I'll say. I'm not talking eating ducks to eat. I'm talking every afternoon at 5 o'clock. These ducks came in from the roof or whatever and walked through the lobby, and it was like this whole big thing that you had to go there for the ducks. Anyway, the ducks were a pain in the ass because you couldn't get to the bar and you couldn't get into your room, and don't go there for the ducks. Go there. Yeah, that's it. The Grand Ole Opry. The Peabody Hotel was the ducks, Linda, exactly. And it was hilarious. We had such a good time. Anyway, I've written all about it. So fried chicken, Keith Urban, Nashville. This is the connection today. And this fried chicken came to us as a potential recipe to put in one of our books from Lexi Meissen, and I've got to say I've loved it from the beginning. The reason it didn't get in the book, I don't actually even know why it didn't get in the book, and maybe it should have. It's such a great recipe. It's been in my files ever since, and I've just always loved it, so I'm really happy to be able to share it with you. I've sort of tweaked it a bit over the years to be what it is today. The good thing is, for those who celebrate Passover, it's a really good recipe because it uses potato flour. You can also make it with matzah meal. For those who are gluten-free, it's really good because you can do it with potato flour. If you don't have potato flour, you can use self-raising flour with a little bit of extra baking powder, although I'm not sure you need it. We'll talk about that in a second. Okay, what are you going to need? First thing, preheat your oven to 220 degrees Celsius. That's a super hot oven because what we want to do is really brown and crisp the skin, the outside of the chicken, so that it's like fried chicken. Of course, it's not going to be the same as fried chicken, but it's pretty delicious, and I think it's easier and fantastic. I'm not saying it's as good, but it's a fantastic recipe if you want the fried chicken vibe, okay? Where will we start? Okay, put your oven on 220, and I want you to put your oven tray in your oven already, okay? So I want it hot when the chicken goes onto it. You know what, Tanya, potato starch is not the same as potato flour, but I think you can use potato starch for this recipe. They're not the same, and I've done lots of investigation over the years, and I just can't get a very good answer about it as far as baking goes. So I would use potato starch and see how you go, because I think what I'm using is actually potato starch. Can you air fry it, Nikki? I'm not an air fryer, so I have got no idea, but I don't see why not. But on the other hand, why do you, well, I don't know. Do you need to? Like, I don't know enough about air frying, I'm afraid, to answer your question properly. Sorry. Okay, so I want the oven on 220. I want the tray in the oven because I want the tray hot. It's up to you if you want to put baking paper or not. I did a batch that you're going to see in a minute that's finished with baking paper because I think it's less messy. But if you want to get maybe super crispy underneath as well, you might try spraying it with olive oil and cooking it. And if it sticks, it sticks. I can't promise it won't, but it may be a better outcome. I'll show you mine anyway when we get to it. Okay, this recipe calls for 4 chicken Marylands just because I love chicken Marylands. I know that someone's going to say to me, can we do it with breasts? Can we do it without the skin? Of course you can. You can do whatever you like. But because we're cooking it for a long time and we want it to get crispy and it takes time to brown, the breast is just going to dry out. It's just not going to be good, okay? If you want to do it with a breast, I would even maybe shallow fry it in a pan first and then finish it in the oven for 20 minutes. It's not going to last 40 minutes in the oven. That breast is going to be stringy and dry and not my cup of tea. The Maryland is really forgiving, especially on the bone. You can cook it for 40 minutes without a problem. So a Maryland looks like that, right? If I know which way it goes, like that, okay? Well, you know what I'm trying to do. Okay, it comes like that. But I like it cut in half because you just get more surface area to have the crumb on it, which I like, or the flour on it. So that's why I've just cut a Maryland. I always get the backbone cut out of a Maryland. I don't like it. It's yuck. It looks yuck. It's fiddly to eat. But I've got the thigh bone still in and the skin on. You could take the skin off, of course, if you wanted to, but I think it also helps protect the chicken from overcooked cooking. So that's what I would do, okay? If you wanted to use just drumsticks, use just drumsticks. If you want to use the whole Maryland, use the whole Maryland. If you want to use chicken thigh fillets, you can, but again, they're not going to survive as well with 40 minutes of cooking, which is what you need to get the brownness we want. Okay, so that is a 220 is not a fan force temperature. If you've got a very good fan forced oven, you'd probably want to reduce it to about 205. This is a super hot oven, okay? There's very little I cook at this temperature. I always like to give you a guide as to what I normally cook at that temperature so you understand the temperature we're talking about. 180 is what I normally cook a cake at, 200 is a nice roasting temperature, and 220 is super hot, okay? So super hot oven. What we're going to need as follows. Trays in the oven, oven's on 220. 4 chicken Marylands, or however many you're doing. We've got this paste part of it and we've got the flour part of it. And let's go through the flour part of it first because that's the easiest part. You can use potato flour, 3/4 of a cup, and 1.5 teaspoons of baking powder, or if you prefer, you can just substitute self-raising flour. I've done both. I can't see much difference, but we'll have, well, you know what, let me show you this now. Okay, it's just come out of the oven. I like to show it at the end, but it has just come out. And I've done one side, you can see I wrote PF, which is plain flour, which is potato flour, and SF, which is self-raising. And let's have a look at the difference. Everything else was the same. Which is better? And you know what I'm going to say? I'm going to say I prefer what's happened with the potato flour and the baking powder. It's gone, the skins, the crumbs almost gone bubbly and crispier, and this is a bit smoother. So I think that if you have potato flour, I would go with the potato flour. If you have self-raising, I would probably add, I would do 3/4 of a cup of self-raising flour and 1/2 teaspoon of baking powder, okay? Instead of 3/4 of a cup of potato flour and 1.5 teaspoons of baking powder. Are you with me? Okay. So I'll bring that out again later when we eat it, but you can see how delicious it is. Okay, so let's put the flour onto a plate. So I've flour and baking powder onto a plate, and I'm just going to mix it together, okay? This is the outside coating, and I just want them mixed together very well. It's weird that I mixed it on a plate, but you know what? I did that. So just make sure it's combined. I'm using a whisk. That's going to help get rid of some of the lumps in the potato flour as well. You know what? I'm going to use my hand. And I know I touched the raw chicken, but I'm dealing with raw chicken the whole morning, so that's all right. I'm always really conscious of raw chicken and touching other things, okay? So everyone's with me on that. I have got my flour, whether it's self-raising and baking or potato flour and baking powder. on a plate. I'm going to set that aside. I've got my chicken, which I want to be at room temperature if possible before I cook it. Doesn't have to be, but it's better if it is. I always think about cold meat or cold chicken or cold fish or whatever going into a hot pan, and it just will shock it. It needs to go in gently. So if it's at room temperature, it's not as much of a shock. That's the way I think about it. Don't know if that makes any sense. Then in a little bowl, we're going to add everything else, all the rest of the ingredients, because we're making like this sludgy paste that we're going to coat the chicken with, okay? We have got 1.5 tablespoons of oil. You can use olive or not, it's up to you. We've got a 3 teaspoons of lemon juice. I have got 3 teaspoons of salt flakes, and for those who bought the Olsen, I'm using the beautiful soft blossom flakes. Do you know what's interesting about the Olsen thing? I bought, I've got lots of Malden here left over before I went to Olsen, and when I use it, I find it really hard on my fingers, and my fingers have now got used to this lovely blossom salt, so it's interesting, the change. I'm very much addicted to the blossoms from Olsen. I'm going to put the salt in. I'm going to put, I should go in order here, 1 clove of garlic crushed, and I am going to put the garlic in today. You know I usually leave it out. Coopy. Yes, that's Cooper. He can smell the chicken, you're right. Hello. Okay. I'm going to put in, I'm going completely out of order, I'm sorry. Let's start again. Oil, 1.5 tablespoons of oil, 1 clove of garlic, zest of half a lemon, 3 teaspoons of lemon juice, 3 teaspoons of sea salt flakes, 3/4 teaspoon of sweet paprika. If you like hot paprika, by all means put it in. I don't like it. I don't like that smoky or the smoked flavour in smoked or hot paprika. I like the sweet paprika. So I'm putting in 3/4 teaspoon of sweet paprika. I've got 1/2 teaspoon of ground black pepper, and that's it. And I'm just going to mix that together and make a sludgy paste. I just want everything really nicely mixed, so I'm using a wooden spoon just to crush the salt a bit and make sure everything is really well combined. Then I need to get ready, and this is like, you know, the schnitzel vibe that we're doing, which is dipping in the wet ingredients or pasting with a brush, painting with a brush I should say. I'm going to try to do this so you can see what I'm doing, okay? So, and I need a plate to put the ready chicken pieces on, okay? You ready? I know you can't see that, but that's all right. Okay, chicken. So I'm in the bowl here, you can see. I'm going to do it the other way around. I'm in the bowl here, and I'm just going to dip and paint, dip and paint, dip and paint. Yum. I mean, you could even just do that, to be honest, and just roast them like that. That would be absolutely delicious. And then I'm going to roll it in the flour. Again, same again, dip and paint. Make sure you get all those bits up, all those lovely bits of garlic and pepper and everything. You could also do it on a plate and just, you know, put the whole thing in the mixture. So just like that. And then we're going to get the plate of flour, and I'm going to coat it like that. That's it. It's so simple. And I just wouldn't do this ahead because you don't want the flour and the liquid to sit there. So it is a bit of a last minute thing, I think. I think you risk making the coating soggy if you leave it sit too long, okay? So coat it as best you can all over. Okay? And then just put it on a plate till we're ready. And then, look, if you find you don't have enough flour, of course, put some more on. My measurements for this one might be a bit vague, because unlike recipes for the book, it hasn't been tested by a million people 50,000 times, just by me, okay? So again, I want to flour all sides of it so it's nicely coated, and I have got the skin on, and I do think it's better to leave the skin on, definitely better to have it on the bone. Okay, and then I'll do my last 2 pieces. I'm only doing 2 Marylands because I've done the other ones. You might actually find that this is not enough mixture either, now that I'm looking at it. See how you go. I was super generous with this mixture when I coated it. It doesn't have to be as generous as that. So coat one, put it in the flour, And the last bit, yum, the garlic smells delicious. As much as our family isn't a garlic family, I do love it. Okay, so Vivian, there is 3/4 cup of potato flour and 1.5 teaspoons of baking powder. And I apologise if you get to your 3rd and 4th Marylands and find that you don't have enough either mixture to paste or flour. Please accept my apologies in advance for that. I think we could have been a bit more generous with the amounts. And now I'm just not following the rules of wet and dry, because you know I have no idea how to do that. I just always forget which is the wet and which is the dry. So I'm going to say that this amount that I've given you for 4 Marylands is probably enough for 3. Okay. Could you put the flour in a paper bag and shake it? You could, but why? I like this. I like to really just press it on. Sometimes it needs pressing on and turn it over. You really get to control it. Of course, do it the other way if you like. It's never been my thing, the bag thing, I have to say. Don't know why. So, how's everyone going? Anyone cooking along? Yum, smells delicious. Guess what we're having for dinner at our house tonight? Fried chicken. I should say not fried chicken. So, that's pretty good. I'm happy with that. So it's nicely covered, and my bits here that aren't as nicely coated as I want, I'm going to just give them another go. Hey, stop it, Winnie. Stop it, Koopy. It's my dog. He's become a barker, I told you that. Oh, here comes the other one. This is Winston. Hey, Winston. Say hi. That's Winston. Yeah. Yeah, I think it's more fun with hands, don't you? I like it. Okay, so that's done. Beautifully done. And yeah, I've probably got enough yet left for 1 or 2. So see how you go. But don't get cross with me for giving you incorrect measurements. It just might be a little bit under. I need to wash my hands. I'm not going to lick my fingers this time because of course we've got raw chicken. So this is what that looks like. Yum. Now, I'm just going to give them a wash right here. Just bear with me. Okay. So, that's my chicken. I'm going to get my hot tray out of the oven. I'm just going to make some space because it's going to be hot. And this one I'm going to try, and I will report back later about how it went without the baking paper. Because I am here for you guys, okay? I am here to experiment for you, okay? I want you to know that. That's my job, okay? To find these great things. I'm going to spray this with olive oil spray. You could paint it if you like. I know that spray is expensive for what it is, but I love it. It is so convenient. And I'm just going to I'm going to give them a shake to get the excess off. And I'm going to pop my pieces on. Nicely lined up. I did want it to sizzle as I put it on the tray, I'll be honest with you. And I'm going to put it in the oven now for 40 minutes, okay? 40 minutes, timer on now. All right, let me just clean this up. Give me 1 minute. I'm going to clean this up, wash my hands again, and come back with the ones that I've already done. I'll be 1 sec. Don't leave me. I just need to get this out of the way. All right. Hold on 1 minute. Okay. So let me just wipe this bench down. Yum. You can see how quick and easy it is. It really is. It's just simple and lovely and gives you that fried chicken vibe without going to the effort of fried chicken. Okay. Let me show you what I did earlier. So, on the yum. So this is the self-raising flour. It's not bad. The bottom has gone all crispy and lovely on the baking paper, so that's fine. And this is the potato flour, which actually looks to me more like fried chicken. I don't know. You know what? You can judge for yourself and see which you prefer. So this is the self-raising. And see, because we've got these extra pieces, you've got more crispiness, which I like. You know, you want the ratio of crispy outside to soft inside, succulent inside to be high. okay, in my family. Your family, you may not. So you do the way, you do it whatever way you like. So, Linda, what do you mean? What's a good everyday paprika? I think sweet paprika is a good everyday paprika, if that's what you mean. But some people do love that Hungarian one, I must say. They really do. Sorry, not the Hungarian. The Hungarian is the sweet. Some people love the smoked, which I find just too much for me. And this is the potato flour drumstick. Now, what I want to tell you is after it's finished cooking at the end of 35 minutes, let's say, have a look at your chicken. You might find that some of the flour, so what happens is the oil heats up on the chicken and it comes through and it fries the little flour coating. Sometimes what happens, the flour doesn't quite get cooked. So what I do is I go in 35 minutes with my spray and I give the flour bits a quick spray, and it just helps it. If you don't have the spray, you could give it a quick brush. But I always find even if you don't have that, it's good to have a spritz can or a spritz bottle with oil in it. It's always very useful. So this is the chicken. Let's have a look how yummy it is. I mean, it really is yummy, even these bits. It's really good. Honestly, it tastes like fried chicken. I think it's delicious. That is the potato flour. I'm doing this for you guys. I'm tasting it so that I can report back. And this is the self-raising. Can I tell a difference? It's really hard to tell. I have to be honest with you. I think I prefer the potato. But if you gave me both as a blind test, I don't know that I could really pick it. It's hard to tell. Okay, so I cooked this for 40 minutes. And because it's on the bone, because it's got the skin on, and because it's the thigh, it really can withstand that long in the oven. Okay, 40 minutes. The crunch is... You think the crunch was better on the potato flour? Yeah, I do too. And that has a nicer look. Yeah, I think it's much better. I'm going to say that to you, okay? Potato flour, my preference over self-raising flour. But I want to tell you that I didn't put baking powder in this one, and that might be the difference. There just wasn't enough oomph in the flour, so it didn't go as crisp. Okay, so that is my fried chicken. It was a very quick session today because... the recipe's a cinch. Okay, yeah, Janine says you could put, her mother-in-law used to put a dab of margarine on the top of each chicken piece before cooking it. I think that would all make it absolutely delicious. And for those of you who eat butter with your meat, that would also be amazing. Or you could give it an extra spray when it went in the oven. But see how it goes when you cook it and see what you think. I think it's delicious. I don't want you to expect that it's going to be as good as Nashville fried chicken. Not as good. It's a different thing, okay? But this, for home, quick, not fried chicken, I think it's an absolute winner. I'd love you to make it, and I'd love to hear what you think of this recipe. You could also try corn flour. I may have tried it and I can't remember. I did lots of experiments last year when it was Passover time to see what would be a great substitute for flour. It works really well with matzah meal, actually. It's almost the best thing that there is. It just goes particularly crispy. No, Linda, I did not turn it over. I just left it like that, and the bottom just does its own thing. It actually goes really crispy. And I've got one in the oven, as I said, without baking paper, with a spray of oil to see if maybe it gets even crispier on the bottom. So that's it, and you could of course cook them a little bit ahead and reheat them in a hot oven. I think that'll do quite well, or if you don't want to make it all at the last minute. So that is my not fried chicken. I hope that you enjoyed it, and I hope you enjoyed that little Keith Urban number. I think that my kids are going to be singing it with me tonight because I've just brought back a memory from years ago. Is that right, Jakey? Do you remember when we used to sing that song in the car? We used to scream it in the car. Remember doing that with kids? Oh, that was fun. Those were the days. Now I sing in the kitchen and they look at me like, what are you doing, Mum? I will see you tomorrow. Tomorrow's the big day. Remember, tomorrow is the 50th. Can you believe that? 50th session. I can't believe it. And I'm going to be giving away a copy of our most recent cookbook, Now for Something Sweet. And please tell your friends to come along so they can have a chance to win the book as well, because you've got to be watching to win it. Yeah, one of those. See you all. Thank you for joining me. Lovely to have you here. So nice to have you here, Charmaine and Janine. So nice, both of you together. Love it. Hey, Kez, thanks for coming. Bye, Brizzy Chris. See you next time. And Melanie, yeah, thank you. I also think it's been amazing for me. I've loved every single session with you guys. And I'm grateful for you. Thank you, Jane. That's so lovely. All right, then. Off now. See you tomorrow. Same time, same place. Maybe I'll put on a different top for something special. What do you think? See you then. Bye.